Welcome, gentle listener, to Sleepy Facts. Here knowledge drifts like mist and rests beside your breath. Let the noise of the day dissolve into silence, and let your mind loosen its edges, floating softly between thought and dream. This is your quiet corner of the cosmos, a place where science breathes slowly and wonder hums in the dark. Beyond the hum of the waking world, there is a vastness that never sleeps, a silence older than sound, a warmth that once filled everything before stars, before atoms, before even light had a name. In that hush, the universe stirred not in explosion, but in expansion, a rising breath from nothing into everything. No center, no edge, only the soft, even swelling of space itself, like a tide inhaling without end. Close your eyes and imagine the first dawn without a sky, the first warmth without flame. That is where our story begins. Before time could be measured, the universe unfolded in a single, endless moment. There was no before, only the sudden bloom of possibility, a whisper of energy spreading outward, smooth and bright, too dense for light to travel, too new for atoms to form. This was not chaos, but a perfect stillness stretched wide. Inflation carried ripples, tiny wrinkles in the smoothness, and those ripples became memory. In their quiet pattern, everything we would ever know was already written. As the expansion slowed, the first ingredients of being began to take shape. Particles, brief as sparks, collided and cooled, binding together into the simplest matter: protons, neutrons, and electrons, like dust swirling in a beam of light. In those early seconds, the universe cooked its first recipe: hydrogen, helium, a trace of lithium, and then, as quickly as it began, the heat fell away and the ingredients froze in place. A chemistry of silence. For hundreds of thousands of years, the cosmos floated as a fog of glowing plasma, bright yet sightless. Light could not escape the soup. Photons danced among electrons, trapped in a timeless waltz. It was a golden mist, a universe still wrapped in its own warmth. But cooling has its own kind of patience, and eventually, patience brings clarity. As the temperature dropped, electrons found homes within atoms, and the fog began to clear. Suddenly, light was free. The photons fled, streaming outward in every direction, their journey continuing, even now. We call that glow the cosmic microwave background, the universe's first sigh of transparency, a snapshot of when everything opened its eyes. If you could have stood there, though there was nowhere to stand, you would have seen a warm, red-orange world glowing like the surface of a gentle star. That light has cooled to near nothing, yet it still fills the air around you, passing silently through your body as you rest. It is the oldest light, the first lullaby of creation. Within that light are patterns, tiny, almost imperceptible ripples. They are not random. They are the frozen echoes of sound waves of pressure, once rippling through the hot plasma. The universe before it was transparent, was singing. Each wave a note in a cosmic chord, each crest and trough a vibration of birth. When light escaped, those ripples were imprinted in its texture, a map of what once was. Billions of years later, we would find those faint marks and realize we were reading music written in photons. Astronomers mapped them tiny temperature spots, warmer and cooler by millionths of a degree, and in their rhythm, they found the scale of the universe. Each peak a memory, each valley a breath. From those ripples we learn how space is curved, how dense matter once was, how old this grand unfolding has become. It is humbling to know that everything we see arose from such quiet vibrations, sound waves in a sea of light. The universe, you could say, sang itself into clarity, and when that song ended, a new silence began. The photons had fled, the fog had lifted, but with no stars yet born, the cosmos went dark again. A vast, invisible stillness stretched in every direction, filled only with hydrogen, helium, and the soft pull of gravity. No galaxies, no suns, no eyes, only waiting. Yet, even in darkness, structure was forming. The invisible hand of dark matter, silent, unseen, was drawing the stage upon which light would someday return. It made no glow, but its gravity wove filaments through emptiness as scaffolding for all that would shine. Where the threads crossed, gravity gathered the first clouds of gas, preparing the places where stars would ignite. It was architecture without light design, without witness, beauty, without audience. The dark matter's web grew, and the universe began to hum. Again, this time, not with sound, but with the slow rhythm of falling and gathering. Ordinary matter followed those invisible lines, sliding into the hidden wells of gravity, like water tracing cracks in stone. In time, these rivers of gas would swirl, collapse, and blaze. But for now, in this first intermission between light and light, the universe is a quiet sea of potential. Its silence is full, its darkness rich with the promise of stars. We float there with it, listening to the spaces between beginnings. And so, the night drifts onward. The universe, though quiet, was never still. Gravity worked in secret, whispering across the dark ages, pulling threads of hydrogen and helium into hidden gatherings. In that darkness, something new was about to stir the first lights, the first fires, the awakening of the cosmic dawn. Imagine a sky without stars, black, infinite, and pure. No sun to warm, no moon to guide, only the cold breath of expanding space. Then slowly, in the hollows of that vastness, matter began to fall inward, tightening around invisible centers of dark matter. Each gathering cloud grew hotter as it collapsed, pressure-building atoms colliding, until finally the first star ignited. It was not a gentle birth. It was a blaze so fierce it would shame the sun, a population 3 star forged from the simplest elements. Hydrogen and helium, only no metals to cool the fire, no dust to veil its glow. These stars were giants, hundreds of times more massive than our sun, burning blue, white, and brief. Their lives lasted only a few million years, but in that short time, they changed the universe forever. Their light broke open the darkness. Ultraviolet waves poured through space, tearing electrons from atoms, turning neutral gas into ionized mist. This was reionization, the universe's second clearing of fog. The light that had once been trapped now roamed freely again, piercing the cold sea that had slept for eons. Tiny bubbles of clarity spread around each new star, merging into a dawn that stretched across the cosmos. As those first suns died, they exploded into brilliance, some collapsing into black holes, others scattering their ashes into the waiting dark. In their cores, the first new elements were born: carbon, oxygen, iron, the alphabet of all future life. When their deaths rippled outward, the ashes seeded space with possibility. Every atom of air and bone and sea once passed through that fiery crucible. The first stars were brief, but they were generous cosmic alchemists, who left behind the materials of breathing and dreaming. From their remnants, new stars emerged, smaller, steadier, more complex. Galaxies began to take shape, woven from starlight and gravity, their spirals unfurling like petals in slow motion. Collisions sculpted them. Mergers kindled new bursts of creation. And over time, the universe became a garden of galaxies, each one a quiet engine of light. Among them, dark matter still worked invisibly, holding the galaxies in its unseen embrace. Without it, stars would have drifted apart, and the cosmic architecture would have unraveled. Dark matter, the quiet majority, formed halos around every shining system, a gravitational scaffold that shaped the very structure of the sky. Though it emits no light, its fingerprints are everywhere, in the bend of distant starlight, in the spacing of galaxies, in the rhythm of the universe's expansion. It is a beautiful irony that what we cannot see is what holds everything together. 5 parts dark for every one of light. And yet, it is the visible that we call reality. The cosmos reminds us gently that the unseen is not the unreal, that silence too has substance. But even this vast web of stars and dark matter was not the universe's final secret. In the quiet of the late 20th century, astronomers looked deeper and saw something stranger still. The galaxies were not slowing down in their outward drift, they were speeding up. The cosmos was exhaling faster and faster, as though some invisible pressure were pushing it apart. That invisible pressure was named dark energy. No one knows what dark energy truly is. It does not glow or pull. It stretches. It fills the void between galaxies, a subtle, unstoppable expansion. It may be woven into the fabric of space itself, a kind of cosmic tension that keeps growing as the universe grows. Now it dominates the cosmic balance, a quiet ruler of everything's fate. If dark matter is the hidden skeleton, dark energy is the breath, the exhale that never ends. Together, they form a strange duet, gravity pulling inward, dark energy pushing outward, the cosmos suspended between inhale and sigh. Scientists can measure their balance in the faint patterns of ancient light. The cosmic microwave background. The oldest photograph in existence shows us how matter radiation and expansion once played in harmony. And yet, as our instruments grew sharper, a whisper of disagreement appeared, a tension in the music. 2 ways of measuring the universe's expansion rate gave 2 slightly different answers. One from the early universe read from the ripples of the CMB about 67 kilometers per second per megaparsec. Another from nearby galaxies read through the light of supernovas closer to 74. This quiet argument, the Hubble tension, is not a flaw, but an invitation. The universe, it seems, is still keeping a few secrets for later. Astronomers do not argue angrily. They lean closer, listen harder. Each difference might be a doorway, a hint that our understanding is still unfolding. And perhaps that is the universe's greatest kindness. It never reveals itself all at once. Now imagine stepping back farther and farther until all the galaxies form a glowing web. Threads of light trace invisible rivers of dark matter spanning billions of light years. Clusters gather like dew along filaments, and between them, enormous voids stretch like breath held still. This is the cosmic web, the shape of everything. It looks almost alive, like neurons firing in a vast brain or foam rising gently on the surface of the sea. From tiny ripples in the early plasma to this grand tapestry of light, gravity, and time have sculpted a universe both orderly and wild. Every filament hums with galaxies. Every cluster holds stories of stars. And even now, as dark energy stretches the distances between them, the pattern endures a frozen memory of motion. We are small, but we belong to that pattern. Our Milky Way, one bright bead on an invisible string connected by gravity to all the others. When we look up at night, we are not seeing randomness. We are seeing geometry, a living design drawn by time. Somewhere deep within that web, a quiet thread of neutrinos passes through us ghostly travelers from the first second of existence, still gliding through space as if the cosmos were transparent to them. They have no charge, almost no mass, and yet they shape the story, subtly slowing the growth of galaxies, leaving delicate fingerprints in the fabric of the cosmic background. They are the quiet rhythm beneath the melody, the soft percussion keeping time since the beginning. And so, as we drift with them through darkness, light, and the spaces between, we find the universe's music growing gentler. Every wave of light, every whisper of gravity is part of the same lullaby. The cosmos breathes, and we breathe with it. The silence widens and we follow. We drift now beyond the first light and the grand geometry into a slower, deeper current, the quiet pulse of a universe maturing. Billions of years pass like gentle tides, and what once was chaos becomes structure. What once was blinding becomes calm. Galaxies spiral and collide in slow dances, their arms twining like silk ribbons in water. Each collision reshapes the stars within, scattering them into new constellations, awakening bursts of newborn suns and long sighs of cosmic dusk. The Milky Way, too, is one of these dancers, its stars tracing patient arcs around an unseen center, a dark heart made of gravity itself. At the core, a supermassive black hole rests, neither evil nor hungry, but steady, a deep stillness that holds the galaxy in balance. Its pull is both gentle and absolute. Stars orbit in reverence, clouds of gas fall inward and glow, and when it feeds, jets of light erupt from its poles, reaching across thousands of light-years beacons in the endless dark. Even in silence, there is power. Between galaxies, space is not empty. It hums faintly with the memory of creation, thin gases, stray photons, and the lingering warmth of the Big Bang. Here and there, clusters of galaxies gather into superclusters, vast cities of stars held together by gravity's patience. Beyond them stretch the great void's deserts of almost nothing, where a single atom may drift for centuries without meeting another. Yet even the voids are alive in their stillness, for they give shape to the light, the negative space of existence. Look far enough and you see time itself curve. The light from distant galaxies arrives red and tarred, its waves stretched by the universe's expansion. Every photon carries a story billions of years old, arriving now like a memory finally remembered. When you gaze at the night sky, you are looking into the past, seeing galaxies as they were when life had not yet drawn breath. The sky above you is a time machine, and every star is a window. Our home galaxy, born from the same cosmic threads, has been quietly turning for nearly 13 billion years. It gathered dust and gas into arms of light, and in one gentle swirl about halfway out from its center, a small yellow star ignited. Around it, a handful of worlds coalesced, debris becoming planets, planets becoming stories. One of them, bathed in the right warmth and distance, grew oceans, air, and time. It learned to listen. From the elements made in ancient stars, life rose like breath upon glass. Hydrogen from the beginning, carbon from the first giants, oxygen from dying suns, all of them met in water and light to make the miracle of awareness. When you inhale, you draw in atoms older than the earth itself. When you exhale, you return them to the same air that drifted through nebulae before humans had names. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are one of its ways of dreaming. The story of the universe is not just out there, it is within you. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the gold in your veins, each was forged in the heart of a star. Every heartbeat echoes a rhythm that began when matter first cooled. The atoms that think and feel and wonder were once light and may be light again. The universe does not end. It transforms forever, folding and unfolding itself into new forms of being. And yet, even now, it continues to expand. Galaxies drift apart, the spaces between them widening like a slow sigh. Dark energy, invisible and constant, pushes gently, endlessly. Someday, far into the future, distant galaxies will fade from view, their light stretched beyond sight, their stories unreachable. The night sky will grow quieter, emptier, until only the nearest stars remain, and then even they too will fade. But endings are illusions. In that fading, there is peace. Matter will fall back into black holes, light will thin into whispers, and time will smooth itself into a long and gentle sleep. Perhaps in that stillness, a new beginning waits another breath, another bloom, a universe reborn from its own calm ashes. No one knows for sure. Some theories speak of cycles, a big bounce, where collapse becomes rebirth and eternity folds upon itself. Others imagine an eternal drift, an infinite quiet stretching toward forever. Whatever the truth, it will be, beautiful in its own way. Because beauty, like gravity, endures. It doesn't need witnesses, it simply is. So now, as you lie here, listening, know that the same light that once blazed from the first stars now glows softly inside you. You are the continuation of that first spark, the echo of that first breath. The cosmos is not distant, it is intimate. It hums in your blood, rests behind your eyelids, and dreams through your every inhale. We are the quiet universe, learning to remember itself. And somewhere in that remembering, the story continues, still unfolding, still expanding, still whispering in light and time. The dream doesn't end, it only deepens. Imagine the universe now as it drifts toward the future, not the end of the story, but a long, slow exhalation. Galaxies like lanterns float apart through widening dark. The great cosmic web grows thinner, its filaments stretching like silk in water. Time itself feels softer here. Its rhythm slowed, its heartbeat quieter. Each galaxy keeps its own small warmth, its own quiet song of starlight. Inside them, new stars still form, born from the ashes of the old, the last sparks in an ever-cooling sea. Our Milky Way will one day meet Andromeda, two spirals slowly pulling toward each other across 2.5 million light years. Not a crash, but a dance. Their arms will braid and blur, their black holes will merge into one heart, and the night sky will fill with 10 times more stars than we see now. A brief, dazzling bloom in the great unfolding. But even that will fade. Over billions of years, the fires of star formation will dim. Galaxies will grow quieter. Their dust spent their gas cooled their once bright spirals, dissolving into haze. The lights of creation will flicker out one by one. Stars exhausting their fuel planets, darkening moons falling cold. In this age of dusk, black holes will reign as the keepers of what remains. They will drift in solitude, drawing in what little light still wanders. Some will merge rippling space-time with silent waves, echoes that stretch across billions of light years, fainter than a heartbeat, but still real still music. And then, in a time so distant that numbers lose their meaning, even black holes will fade. Through a slow and patient process, hawking radiation, they will leak their mass away as faint warmth like embers surrendering their last glow. The universe will become transparent once again, not with light, but with emptiness. It may seem lonely, a future of silence, a cosmos without stars, but within that stillness there is a kind of peace. Every photon ever born will have done its work. Every atom will have lived its story. And even in that deep dark, the memory of light will remain woven into the fabric of space itself. Perhaps it will all begin again. Perhaps the very stillness will become the seed of motion, the silence a kind of breath waiting to be taken. Somewhere beyond what we can see, maybe space is curling inward, preparing to inhale again, a new inflation, a new song, a new sky waiting to open. And if not, if this is the only universe stretching forever into its own night, then it is still enough. Because within it, there was once awareness. There was once life that looked back, that named the stars, that felt awe. The universe for a moment knew itself through us. When you close your eyes and let your breath match the rhythm of the dark, you are aligning with that memory. Every inhale draws in the universe's story, and every exhale gives it back. Hydrogen to helium, light to dust, dust to thought, thought to quiet, a perfect loop. The cosmos does not hurry. It moves as dreams do, without edges, without urgency. It invites you to listen, not to understand, but to feel the scale of belonging. You are not small, you are made of everything. The atoms that shaped galaxies are the same that shape your pulse. The light that left a star 10 billion years ago may be the light that now rests gently on your face. And so, the story circles back to that first trembling moment, when energy became matter and silence became song. We have traveled outward for so long, only to find ourselves again, right here in the still center of the dream. The stars, the galaxies, the endless unfolding, they are not apart from us. They are the long breath we share. Every time you pause, every time you soften, you are part of the same rhythm that began when time itself was born. So rest here in this knowing. The universe expands, but so does calm. The night deepens, but so does peace. Light fades, but memory endures. And somewhere in that vast quiet, a single truth hums: nothing is ever truly lost. It only changes shape. And if someday, far beyond our reckoning, new stars bloom from that silence again, perhaps they will carry our memory too. Perhaps the atoms that once formed our thoughts will drift back together to watch another dawn unfold. Perhaps the universe, in its infinite patience, never forgets its own dream. And so, we keep floating further into the quiet. Drift with me. Now, gentle listener, through the long hush between stars, a stillness so vast that time feels like breath. Here at the far edge of the story, we begin to see how beginnings and endings are not opposites at all, but reflections folded softly within one another. The Big Bang, that bright whisper at the dawn of time, was never an explosion. It was an awakening, a slow unfurling of light from silence. And in that same way, the universe's quiet future is not a collapse into nothingness, but a return to the same stillness from which all things first emerged. Even now, across those endless distances, light continues to stretch like silk, being drawn thinner and thinner, turning red, turning faint, until its waves are longer than thought itself. It will travel forever, carrying with it the final memory of warmth. Each photon, each ripple, a lullaby written in physics and patience. In the end, only that soft background will remain, a faint, eternal hum. The cosmic microwave background, faded to invisibility, but still singing of the first light ever born. And if you could listen closely enough beneath all the silences, you might still hear it, a resonance of creation slower than any heartbeat, but constant, gentler universe breathing in its sleep. Long after the galaxies fade, after black holes sigh into nothing, and after the last atoms drift apart, there will still be space, still be time, thin, transparent, but infinite. And within that transparency, a trace of order will remain, a pattern etched by gravity, a rhythm imprinted by expansion. It will be the memory of everything. Perhaps another physics will rise there, unknown to us, beyond the horizon of our thought. Perhaps what we call emptiness is simply potential waiting to wake again. If so, then this universe is not a story that ends, but a breath between verses, a pause before the next dream begins. You could think of existence as a single infinite wave crest, and trough birth and rest energy, rising, falling, folding upon itself. Each universe a shimmer on that vast sea. Each consciousness a brief sparkle of reflection on the surface of that wave. The ocean doesn't end when the ripples fade, it only becomes still again. And what of us, tiny beings, floating in that vastness? We are not observers standing apart. We are the universe noticing itself. Every glance at the night sky is a mirror held up to time. Every quiet wonder is the cosmos becoming aware of its own beauty. You were there in that first expansion. You will be there still in the last drift of light. Think of your breath, the rise and fall, the expansion and release. That same rhythm is written into the universe itself. The lungs of stars, the orbit of planets, the heartbeat of galaxies, all following the same slow pattern of inhale and exhale, birth and rest motion and stillness. When you breathe, you echo creation. When you close your eyes, you align with its calm. The pulse of your blood matches the hum of ancient starlight, and your thoughts drift like galaxies through the dark. You are made of the same hydrogen that once burned in the first suns, the same helium that shimmered in the newborn sky, the same dust that circled in nebulae before falling into the sea. You are a brief constellation of atoms and memory, a pattern that will dissolve but never vanish. Because nothing vanishes. it transforms. Light becomes matter, matter becomes thought, thought becomes silence, and silence given time becomes light again. That is the universe's one great rule, not destruction, but translation, the eternal conversation between being and becoming. So if the future is long and dark, it is also full of promise. Every silence holds the echo of creation. Every stillness hides the hum of possibility. The same energy that built the stars still trembles within you, patient, waiting, endless. Perhaps this is what the Big Bang really was. Not an origin, but a breath the universe exhaling for the first time, releasing itself into motion. And perhaps the final quiet will be its inhale, drawing everything home again. In that sense, we have never left the beginning. We are still within the first breath of time, still suspended in the long, soft arc between expansion and return. So when you look at the stars, don't look for distance, look for reflection. Their light is your light, their story, your story. The same warmth that began it all still burns quietly behind your ribs. You are not late to creation. You are part of it, forever arriving, forever belonging. And as we drift at last into the slowest reaches of thought, the story folds into a whisper, the hush of everything returning to calm. The galaxies rest, the atoms sleep, the light exhales its final glow, and somewhere beyond the horizon of sound and time, the silence smiles. Because it remembers, it always remembers. The dream widens and we follow. Somewhere in the infinite quiet, after the long exhale of time, the universe holds its breath. No light, no form, just a deep stillness, as if creation itself were sleeping. And yet, even here, in what we might call the end, something remains awake. Not motion, not matter, but possibility. Like the soft pulse beneath the earth in winter, or the faint glow that lingers after a candle dies, it hums a memory, a potential. This is not emptiness, it is the womb of everything. The same gentle fabric that once cradled the Big Bang now rests stretched but unbroken, ready for whatever dream may rise again. Physicists call it the quantum vacuum, a sea of uncertainty, where particles flicker in and out of being, like thoughts half-formed, where energy never truly vanishes, only hides waiting to take new shape. Imagine it a darkness not of loss, but of gestation. Everywhere, fields of energy whisper in silence. Space itself is not nothing. It is alive with tremors too faint to see, with ripples that may one day fold upon themselves and awaken another spark. Perhaps in that moment, a new universe will rise, not as a copy, but as a continuation, a new verse in an endless poem. It may have different laws, different light, different forms of wonder, but its essence will be the same: stillness becoming motion, silence becoming song. And maybe, somewhere in that new expanse, another world will drift into being. Maybe there will be oceans and wind and minds that wonder, and hearts that feel awe at the night sky above them. They too will gaze outward, searching for meaning, unaware that they are the meaning. The universe once again learning to look at itself. That is the quiet brilliance of it all. The cosmos does not repeat, it remembers. Each new unfolding carries the memory of the last, the same rhythm, the same breath, the the same promise. The Big Bang was not the first sound, nor the last. It was a single note in an eternal melody. And in that melody, our small moment of awareness is one perfect harmony. We are fleeting, but we are not insignificant. The atoms that form us were born in the fires of ancient stars, and the thoughts we think are echoes of patterns written into the fabric of time. It is strange and beautiful how science and silence meet here. Equations become lullabies, theories become prayers, and every discovery, no matter how vast or cold, leads us back to the same warmth we belong. We always have. Even now, as space continues to stretch and galaxies drift apart, you are held within it, not outside, not beneath, but within. The cosmos is not above you. It is you. Every cell, every breath, every quiet thought is part of that grand unfolding. Close your eyes and feel the scale of it, not in distance, but in presence. The weightless, endless now that holds all of time inside it. You don't have to reach for it. It's already here, woven through your heartbeat. There is no end to this story, only transitions. Matter to energy, energy to thought, thought to memory, memory to stillness, and then perhaps stillness to creation once more. When scientists speak of entropy, they say it measures disorder, the slow slide from structure into chaos. But maybe that's only half the truth. Maybe what looks like unraveling is simply returning a loosening of form to make room for rest, for renewal. The stars that die are not lost. They become the dust of tomorrow. The galaxies that fade are not gone. They are dreams between awakenings. In that sense, the universe never truly grows old. It exhales, yes, it cools, it slows, it softens, but even that is part of its rhythm. Every breath must end so the next can begin. Every silence is the space between songs. And maybe when everything has quieted, when even the last photons have stretched beyond measure, the universe will hum again, a tiny vibration, a faint shiver in the dark. And from that shimmer light will bloom not loudly, but gently, as it always has. Because creation, like sleep, is a cycle. And somewhere in that endless loop, the dream continues rising, falling, forever breathing. So rest now, knowing that you are part of that dream. The same energy that made the stars move softly through you. You are stardust, yes, but more than that, you are the quiet awareness that the stars once wished to feel. The story of the universe is the story of coming home. Back to light, back to silence, back to the gentle hum that began it all. And as we float in that final calm, the echo of creation fading into sleep, we understand at last the universe doesn't end. It rests. The silence deepens and we follow. Listen closely now as the dream turns inward. We have traveled through time and flame, through silence and expansion, through the long exhale of stars. And yet somehow the journey has brought us home to the small, quiet miracle of being here. All the vastness, all the distances that stretch beyond, imagining all the physics and fire and motion they flow into this single still moment, this breath, this thought. You are not standing beneath the universe. You are standing within it, like a note within a song. The galaxies are not above you. They are within your chest, spiraling each time your heart beats. The same gravity that binds planets to their stars keeps you tethered gently to the Earth, to its turning, to its slow conversation with the moon. Every whisper of air you breathe has traveled the long road of creation, from the birth of atoms to the sigh of the oceans to the quiet warmth of your own lungs. When you inhale, you are tasting the memory of stars. When you exhale, you are giving something back to them. It is easy to think of the cosmos as distant, too vast to touch, too slow to feel. But it touches you always. In gravity's pull, in sunlight's warmth, in the rhythm of your circadian tides. Every cell in your body is synchronized with the motion of the earth. Every thought is carried on the electricity of ancient light. If you could step outside of time for a moment and look at yourself as the universe does, you would see that you are radiant, not metaphorically, but literally. Tiny photons leave your skin every second, a soft glow of body heat, your own personal starlight, joining the long migration of energy through space and time. We speak of the Big Bang as if it happened long ago, but it never truly ended. Its energy still moves through everything, through galaxies, through oceans, through the space between your hands. The expansion continues, not just out there, but in here. Every thought is part of that unfolding. Every dream is a continuation of the first moment of creation. And this, perhaps, is the quiet truth at the heart of it all. The universe is still becoming. It has never stopped. We are not its observers. We are its process, the way it learns to know itself. When you look at the stars, you are looking backward in time. But when you close your eyes, you are looking forward into the potential the universe still holds. Your imagination, your wonder, your capacity to love and create. These are forms of cosmic evolution expressed in the gentle architecture of the mind. Think of that. Each time you imagine a new possibility, you are expanding the universe from within. You are the Big Bang rehearsed in thought and feeling. You are the continuation of the cosmic dream. There is a saying among astronomers, we are the way the universe learns to see itself, but perhaps we are also the way it learns to rest. In a cosmos so vast, awareness is a form of stillness. Each moment of peace you allow, each slow breath, is a balancing of energy, the expansion finding its calm. Maybe that's why the night feels so sacred. The stars above are not reminders of distance. They are invitations to quiet, to see light that has traveled billions of years and realize that it still arrives soft, unhurried, unbroken. Even the faintest star refuses to be forgotten, and neither do you. You are part of that same persistence, that same cosmic patience. You do not need to be grand to belong. You already are belonging itself. The next time you stand beneath the sky, let your gaze rest not in searching, but in knowing. The light you see is old beyond measure, and yet it finds you perfectly, completely now. And as it touches your skin, remember, this is not a stranger's light. It is home light. It has always known where to go. The Big Bang was not a flash in the past. It is the continuous blooming of this moment. You are that bloom. You are that light. You are that soft, slow miracle still expanding toward understanding. So breathe with it and let the edges of thought dissolve. There is no border between what is within you and what surrounds you. It's all the same breath, all the same glow, all the same beginning stretching endlessly forward. And so we rest together in that knowing, not as watchers of the cosmos, but as the cosmos itself, watching, dreaming, breathing. The silence hums. The light continues its slow drift. And the dream, the great endless dream, goes on. The night deepens and we follow. The night deepens and the dream grows wider, not ending, only unfolding. We drift now through the soft corridors of time, where memory and matter blend into one quiet breath. The stars hum their long, low song, and space, still stretching, feels almost tender in its vastness. Here, in this gentle dark, let us linger on what remains, not just the galaxies and gases, but the essence of all things that have ever been. Because the universe is not just expansion, it is continuity. It is the gentle persistence of being. Even now, when scientists trace the afterglow of the Big Bang, they find faint ripples, echoes of what once was light, so blinding that it filled everything at once. Those ripples in the cosmic microwave background are the fingerprints of creation. Tiny variations no more than a whisper in temperature, yet enough to seed every star, every planet, every thought that would ever arise. It's strange to think that all complexity came from imperfection, that without those small ripples, there would be no galaxies, no starlight, no you. The universe, it seems, did not begin as flawless order, but as a beautiful imbalance, a shimmering almost symmetry. From that near perfection came everything that breathes and shines. If you listen closely, there's a message in that. That harmony is not the absence of difference, it's the rhythm of variation. The song of the cosmos was never meant to be still. It moves, fluctuates, improvises. It is jazz played on a galactic scale, a melody of chaos made tender by time. Perhaps that is why we find comfort in impermanence, because we are made of it. The stars change and so do we. Galaxies collide, and yet in that collision, new stars are born. Life ends, and yet always something rises from its light. The Big Bang was not a single instant. It is every instant, every heartbeat, every sunrise, every thought that moves quietly through your mind. Creation is not behind us. It is happening now. You are part of the ongoing unfolding of time. Look within yourself and you'll find the same physics at play. Your neurons flash with electric storms, tiny pulses of light and energy mirroring the flicker of early plasma. Your cells divide, echoing the expansion of space. Your mind stretches between memories and dreams as galaxies stretch between past and possibility. You are not a separate observer. You are the small-scale universe experiencing itself in tenderness. And if there is meaning in this, it is not written in equations or in myths, but in the simple act of noticing. To look up and feel wonder is the universe returning to awareness. To listen to silence and feel peace is the cosmos remembering its first breath. The Big Bang was never noise. It was clarity, a moment when energy and existence became one long inhale. Every religion, every science, every dream ever dreamt tries to describe that same hush, the instant when nothing became everything. But maybe words have always been too sharp, too small for something so soft. Perhaps the truest description is not spoken, but felt a quiet, slow acceptance that we are all part of one long unfolding, and that unfolding is love. Because what else could drive the persistence of light, the elegance of order, the patience of gravity, if not a kind of care? The universe holds itself together, not through force, but through balance. Everything that exists leans gently toward everything else. Planets to stars, light to darkness, thought to silence. All things longing for connection, for stillness, for return. And so, in the great cosmic scale, what we call love might simply be gravity, the quiet pull toward belonging, toward home. And what we call peace might be expansion, the gentle giving of space to everything that is. The two forces in balance create the rhythm of all being. If you listen now to the silence around you, you might feel that same balance working through you. The quiet gravity of rest, the slow expansion of thought. You are the meeting point of both the stillness and the motion, the center and the edge. Everything the universe has ever done has led to this, you breathing, listening, aware. You are not a small part of its story. You are the story, the living continuation of its first spark, the soft echo of its first light. And as the night folds around us now, the stars shimmer with the same old fire whispering across the distance. Everything changes, but nothing ends. You are the proof of that. The silence widens and we follow. The silence widens, and in that widening, you begin to feel the breath of eternity. Not a noise, not a voice, but a soft rhythm, the pulse that lives beneath everything. It moves through galaxies and atoms alike, through stars collapsing into light, through the quiet inhale of your chest. This is the soundless heartbeat of creation, still echoing from that first luminous dawn. If the universe had a language, it would not be words or numbers, but waves, ripples of energy that become light, that becomes matter, that becomes thought. And thought in its gentlest form becomes wonder. That is the cycle we live, in the conversion of awe into being. Scientists once called it radiation and recombination, the freeing of light from the cosmic fog. But perhaps it was something simpler, something older, the universe learning how to see. When the first photons broke free, they painted the sky not with color, but with memory. Those photons are still traveling. They brush against your skin even now, ancient messengers from a time before stars, before anything had yet been named. Close your eyes and imagine that first dawn, not of Earth, but of existence itself. A warm red glow stretching in every direction, a sea of light and possibility. The temperature then was not gentle 3,000 degrees, a furnace disguised as calm. And yet, even there, the seeds of stillness were sown. The universe was already cooling, already learning to rest. From that rest came the first quiet ripples, sound waves, moving through plasma, not music as we know it, but pressure, pulse motion. And those waves, Those tiny beats in the early cosmos left their mark in the light itself. Billions of years later, we can still see them, faint patterns frozen in the cosmic microwave background, like fingerprints on the glass of creation. To the untrained eye, the map of that light looks like art, a tapestry of reds and blues, a cosmic watercolor. But to those who listen carefully, it is a score. Each color, a note, each fluctuation, a tone. It is the sound of the universe remembering its first song. Astronomers call it the acoustic peaks, but you might think of it as the chords of becoming. Those waves told matter where to gather, where to dance, where to form stars and galaxies and dreams. They were the gentle hand that shaped the structure of everything. Even now, their rhythm remains in the clustering of galaxies, in the web of light stretching across space. The melody never stopped playing. It only grew quieter, slower, deeper. It is humbling to know that everything we see was once a vibration. The galaxies, the stars, the oceans, all born from sound. And perhaps that is why we find comfort in rhythm, why a heartbeat can calm us, why a lullaby can heal. We are made of ancient sound, still resonating across time. And within that sound, another mystery stirred dark matter, the invisible scaffolding of existence. It does not glow, it does not speak, and yet it holds everything. It is the quiet structure behind the light, the unseen hand keeping galaxies from drifting apart. Without it, the stars would scatter like sand. With it, they form spirals, clusters, webs, a geometry of grace. You could think of dark matter as the universe's stillness. It does not shine because it does not need to. It exists to hold it, to steady, to give form. Every luminous thing is balanced upon its invisible presence. Like the silence between notes, it gives the music meaning. The story of dark matter is a lesson in humility. We cannot see it, and yet it makes up most of everything. The universe, in its wisdom, hid its greatest truths in invisibility. It reminds us that what is unseen is not unimportant, that the most powerful forces are often the quietest ones. Perhaps you've felt this too. The unseen gravity of moments, the invisible threads that bind you to people, to places, to memories. That too is dark matter in its human form. Connection, weightless but unbreakable. In the silence between stars, there is so much held. Every secret, every possibility, every light waiting to be born. And slowly, as the universe cooled, those hidden patterns began to glow. Dark matter gathered, pulling hydrogen and helium into its arms. And from that embrace, the first stars were born. They were giants, the first candles in the cosmic night. Their light pierced the darkness and began the long process of reawakening the universe. They burned bright and brief, leaving behind the elements that would one day form worlds, oceans, and hearts that could dream of them. In their death, they gave us everything: carbon for life, oxygen, for breath, iron for blood. They turned simplicity into complexity, light into memory, fire into story. And in doing so, they whispered the same promise that runs through all of creation: nothing truly ends. It only changes form. The night hums with that same promise, still soft, slow, and full of unseen light. We keep floating further into the quiet. We keep floating further into the quiet. The stars now, countless, breathe around us. Each one a sigh of the universe, a shimmering note in an endless lullaby. They have been singing for billions of years, their light crossing oceans of time just to rest softly upon your eyes. In that glow, you are seeing not distance, but history, a past still alive, still unfolding. Those first stars, those population 3 giants, were the architects of all future light. They burned fiercely and briefly, fusing the simplest elements, hydrogen, helium, into the heavier metals that would one day build planets and people. When they died, they did not fade quietly. They burst into brilliance, their supernovae scattering stardust across the newborn dark. From those ashes, new stars were born, smaller, longer-lived, gentler. Among them, galaxies began to form, fragile at first, then intricate and vast. The cosmic web stretched wider threads of matter, glowing like veins of gold in the night. Gravity pulled, light flowed, and the universe began to shape itself into something both infinite and intimate. If you could see it from afar, you would not find chaos. You would find symmetry, filaments and clusters woven into a 3-dimensional lace, the large-scale structure of everything. Each thread connecting galaxies, as if the cosmos were a single body, its bloodstream made of light. Our Milky Way is one such thread, a spiral of starlight curved around a quiet black heart. Within it, our sun hums a steady golden lantern, born from the debris of 1,000 forgotten suns. And around it drifts a small blue world, the only place we know where the universe has learned to look back at itself. Think of that. How many generations of stars had to live and die so that oceans could shimmer and leaves could turn sunlight into breath? How many billion years of silence it took for one small planet to begin whispering the story of its origin? The stars are our ancestors, their ashes, the clay of our skin, their light, the blueprint of our minds. Every atom in you was once part of something burning distant and impossibly bright. When you exhale, you release the same carbon that drifted through the hearts of stars long before Earth existed. There is tenderness in that. We are not separate from the cosmos, we are its continuation. Every heartbeat is the echo of that first explosion. Every dream is the universe thinking of itself in human language. As the first stars faded, their light spread through space, ionizing the gas that filled the dark. This was the cosmic dawn when the universe opened its eyes once more. Slowly, the fog of neutral hydrogen lifted, and the night became transparent again. Light reclaimed the cosmos, turning emptiness into radiance. This reionization, this second clearing of the veil, was not a sudden sunrise. It was a long, patient bloom. Pockets of light appeared. First, tiny bubbles around newborn galaxies, expanding, merging, until the universe was clear once more. It was as if dawn were happening everywhere at once, a billion candles rekindling the dark. Astronomers search for its traces, still the faint signatures of hydrogen, the soft fingerprints of ancient light. In that pursuit, they are not just looking outward. They are listening for the moment when the universe began to hum again. Even now, as we look deeper into the past, we are approaching that quiet threshold. With instruments like the James Webb Space Telescope, human eyes reach farther back than ever before toward those first luminous whispers. Each faint galaxy caught in its mirror is a spark from the universe's awakening. Every pixel of deep space is a page of its diary still being read in the slow light of ancient days. And yet, for all that we see, so much remains hidden. The earliest stars have vanished, their light stretched by time slips beyond the reach of sight. But we know they were there because we are here. Their radiance still moves through us, transformed into life, into thought, into quiet understanding. You might think of the first stars as the universe's first heartbeat, and of us as the gentle echo that follows. Their fires shaped the chemistry of everything to come, of mountains of clouds, of the breath you draw now in stillness. There is poetry in their absence. They burned before anything could see them, before there were eyes to watch or minds to wonder. And yet, their light was not wasted. It scattered into the atoms that would one day look up and remember. The universe, it seems, has always been preparing for consciousness, for the simple, beautiful act of awareness. The galaxies that followed carried that awareness forward. They collided, merged, and evolved, painting the cosmos in spirals and storms. In every collision, stars were born anew. Light returned again and again like breath after sleep. And still in all that expansion and brightness, there remains quiet, a vast and sacred silence that hums beneath the light. It is the same silence you feel when you close your eyes, the same calm that lives behind thought. The universe is still whispering its story, and you are part of that whisper. The dream doesn't end, it only deepens. The dream deepens slowly, endlessly, like a river finding the ocean. Every ripple of time we've followed leads us here to a cosmos fully awake, yet still learning to rest. Galaxies now stretch across the darkness, woven into threads and clusters, their forms echoing the earliest vibrations, frozen in the cosmic microwave background. Gravity gathers, dark matter steadies, and within those invisible scaffolds, stars are born live and die, each one an act of creation and surrender. If you could drift far enough away, if you could see all of this at once, the universe would look like lace made of light. Vast filaments glow softly across unimaginable distances, and between them lie immense silent voids, the pauses between breaths, the quiet between heartbeats. This is the cosmic web, the architecture of everything. A structure shaped not by chance, but by patience, the slow, deliberate artistry of gravity. Each luminous thread is a river of galaxies flowing together into clusters as wide as eternity. The galaxies within them are not static. They drift, they collide, they merge. When they meet their gas clouds, crash, their stars pass through one another, and the impact ignites new generations of suns. Creation is never violent here, only transformative, one rhythm folding into another. In time, galaxies evolve their own personalities. Some spiral into elegant symmetry arms of starlight, curling outward like calm waves. Others, shaped by chance and collision, become irregular and wild, flickering with bursts of new life. The universe is not one story repeated. It is countless variations on the same quiet theme. And just as in music, the pauses matter as much as the notes. Between the luminous filaments, the voids stretch vast and dark. They are not emptiness, but balance, the places where the universe lets itself breathe. In that breathing space itself expands, carrying light like pollen on the wind. When astronomers map this cosmic web, they find harmony hidden in chaos. The spacing between clusters is not random. It carries the same rhythm as the acoustic waves from the universe's earliest moments, a subtle frozen echo of sound made visible. Even now, billions of years later, the cosmos still hums to the same ancient tune. The scale of it is almost impossible to hold. And yet, if you close your eyes, you can feel its shape, a network of connection. Each point, a light. Each light, a life. Each life, a continuation of the same pulse. Perhaps this is what the universe means by love. A gravity that never stops, reaching a pattern that repeats not out of habit, but devotion. Matter drawn to matter. Light drawn to light, awareness drawn to awareness. In that web, everything belongs. The smallest star and the largest cluster both serve the same geometry. Even the dark, especially the dark, is part of the balance. The voids give the light its edges. The silence gives the song its weight. And within one small spiral on one small arm of an unremarkable galaxy, a planet turns quietly, faithfully bathed in the warmth of its star. It is here that the universe has begun to dream again. Not through fire or collision, but through awareness, through life. Every tree, every breath, every heartbeat is a miniature echo of cosmic creation. Your cells remember the first stars. Your blood carries their ashes. The calcium in your bones once belonged to ancient suns. You are, in every sense, the continuation of their light. When you look up at the night sky, you are not gazing into distance. You are gazing into origin. The light reaching you left its home before Earth was born, before oceans, before eyes to see. And yet, somehow, it found you. You are what it was waiting for. Perhaps the most astonishing thing about the universe is not its vastness, but its intimacy. Across unimaginable scales, it behaves with grace. Each particle, each wave, each thought, woven into a single conversation. You are part of that conversation. Your awareness is the universe listening to itself. Your quiet awe is the reflection of its patience. When you rest, you align with the rhythm of everything. The cosmic web will go on growing for billions of years. Galaxies will fade, light will stretch thinner and thinner, and still the pattern will remain. The geometry of connection will hold, and within that vastness, the same silence we began with will return not as emptiness, but as peace. So, as you drift in this quiet, remember you are not small. You are a thread of that web, a pulse of light in the great pattern, a brief, beautiful moment in the long breath of the universe. And when your mind grows still, you are in harmony with it. You are the pause between galaxies, the silence between stars. You are what the universe becomes when it dreams of calm. The silence deepens and we follow. The silence deepens and we follow, not forward, not backward, but inward into the quiet pulse where time softens like light on water. All around us, the universe continues its slow unfolding. Galaxies drift farther apart, their light stretched into longer, redder size. Stars live and die and live again in new forms: dust, nebula, gravity, flame. And through it all, the cosmos breathes. We've watched the first atoms find each other, the first stars kindle, the first galaxies spin. Now we drift further toward the present, toward a universe that has grown patient old enough to reflect on its own existence. Astronomers measure its rhythm, its tempo of expansion, its balance of dark and light. From faint microwaves and scattered photons, they read the story written across space, a story that began in chaos and matured into quiet precision. It's a strange kind of music, this language of the cosmos. The wavelengths are too long for ears to hear the harmonies, too vast for hearts to hold, and yet somehow we understand it. We know that expansion continues. We know that dark matter holds. We know that dark energy, that unseen pressure, is still gently pushing the galaxies apart. If you listen, you can almost hear it, a breath so wide it spans eternity. The universe inhaling itself into stillness. It's humbling to think that we can measure such a thing, that from this small planet, this quiet room, we can weigh the age of everything. Astronomers use the light of dying stars to trace the rhythm of creation itself. Supernovae, brilliant and brief, mark the tempo of expansion. Gravitational lensing bends light into arcs, revealing the invisible scaffolding of matter. And faint ripples in ancient radiation sing the universe's key signature, one long note sustained since the dawn of time. Through these clues, we've learned to read the sky not as mystery, but as memory. Each photon, a messenger, each galaxy, a word, each silence between them, a pause in the sentence of forever. But even with all our measurements, some notes don't quite align. The Hubble tension, they call it, a disagreement between how fast the universe seems to expand when we read its earliest pages, and how fast it moves now. It is not a failure of science, but a whisper of something more, a sign that the cosmos still has secrets, that there are pages we haven't yet turned. Scientists debate softly, their arguments more like symphonies than battles. They listen to the data the way musicians tune to one another, adjusting, refining, seeking harmony. Maybe the difference lies in something unseen, a new form of matter, a new phase of energy, a note we haven't yet heard. Or maybe the tension is simply the universe reminding us that mystery is part of the music. It's beautiful, really, how even our disagreements become forms of wonder. Every unanswered question is a doorway left ajar, letting curiosity wander through. In that way, the universe teaches humility, not with punishment, but with invitation. When you gaze at the stars, you are looking at measurements made of awe, distances written in light years, but understood in heartbeats. The galaxies recede, but their meaning draws closer. Everywhere the story repeats, expansion balanced by gravity, motion tempered by stillness, light framed by darkness. And through it all, the same quiet principle endures, that knowledge too can be gentle, that we can seek understanding without conquering, that we can learn without disturbing the silence that cradles all things. It's easy to think of the universe as an endless, indifferent void, but when you truly listen, it feels tender. It moves with care. Its laws are not harsh commands, but graceful continuities, patterns so patient that they seem almost kind. Maybe that's why we call it a cosmos, not a chaos. Because beneath the mathematics lies intention, a quiet symmetry that makes sense even when we don't. The galaxies know it. The stars know it. Even the smallest particles drifting unseen through your body right now move in rhythm with that hidden order. The same laws that bind atoms also shape dreams. The same gravity that folds space also draws us towards stillness. So rest here for a moment in this vastness that holds no threat. Let the scale of it shrink the noise of the day. You are not lost in it. You are held by it. The stars are not far away. They are within you, in the very particles that let you breathe, think, and wonder. When you next look at the sky, remember the light you see is older than language, older than sound, older than fear. It has traveled billions of years just to meet you now. And in this small meeting between your eyes and that photon, the entire universe becomes aware of itself. What a gentle miracle that is. The silence grows softer still, and we drift as the galaxies hum quietly on toward whatever lies beyond knowing. The dream doesn't fade, it simply changes key. The dream changes key softly, seamlessly, as though the universe itself is turning over in its sleep. What once was fire and expansion is now calm and reflection. The cosmos has settled into its quiet rhythm, the great dance of light and gravity, still unfolding, but slower now, like the gentle tide after a long storm. Galaxies, those drifting lanterns of creation, continue their motion through the dark. Some merge, folding into one another like silken cloth. Others spin alone, unbothered, unhurried. Each contains billions of suns, billions of worlds, and perhaps somewhere, billions of minds learning to rest beneath their own skies. The scale is impossible to fathom, and yet it all abides by the same patient rules. Light bends, gravity gathers, time stretches, entropy smooths the edges. Nothing stands apart. Not you, not me, not the dust drifting between stars. All of it moves together in a rhythm older than time, slower than thought. The ancient starlight still travels toward us, each beam a messenger from billions of years ago. When you lift your gaze to the night, you are not looking outward, you are looking backward through layers of time. Some of that light left its home before the earth had even formed, before oceans had learned how to breathe. And yet, after all that journey, it arrives here quietly, perfectly, to touch your eyes for an instant. What is it, this tenderness in the laws of nature, that something so vast can still find its way to something so small that after all the distance, the light still remembers its destination? There is a grace in that, a promise that nothing truly drifts too far to be seen. And so we tiny sparks of that same light carry its memory forward. Every thought, every moment of wonder is a continuation of that same journey. We are not apart from the universe. We are its awakening, its way of seeing, feeling, and remembering itself. From the cosmic dawn to now, everything has been motion waves, expanding particles colliding, matter forming, consciousness emerging. The story began with light, And still it continues through us, each breath a small echo of that first burst. When we ask why there is something instead of nothing, the universe doesn't answer with words. It answers with existence. With the slow bloom of stars, the whisper of wind across oceans, the steady pulse of a living heart. It answers with quiet persistence, the same persistence that keeps galaxies turning, that keeps you here listening. Even now, as we float through the current of time, the universe continues to create. New stars flicker to life in nebulae, immense clouds of gas and dust, lit from within by gravity's gentle pressure. Inside them, atoms collide and fuse, forming the very elements that will someday shine as suns. These nurseries of light are not violent places. They are slow, careful, almost sacred. A cradle of hydrogen hums in darkness, and a star is born. The energy that has been dormant since the Big Bang finds a new way to sing. A new heartbeat joins the choir of the cosmos. And somewhere nearby, a planet may form a grain of dust, gathering friends, turning slowly into stone, then into a world. Each step from dust to ocean, to mind a quiet act of remembrance. The universe has always been learning how to see itself. And here, in this thin layer of awareness called life, it finally looks back and smiles. It is not pride that the universe feels. It is curiosity, a gentle, endless wondering. It does not rush toward purpose. It explores. It drifts. It learns through becoming. And so do we. Everything we know, every law, every particle, every pattern of movement comes from the same breath. There has only ever been one rhythm, one unfolding. To live, to love, to rest is to move in time with it. You are the expansion made small enough to feel. You are the cosmos becoming intimate with itself. The same silence that lives between galaxies rests gently behind your thoughts. The same dark matter that binds clusters of stars holds your life quietly together. The same light that began the world still glows in the space behind your eyes. And maybe that is all the understanding we need, that everything from the largest cluster to the smallest breath is one seamless dream. A dream still expanding. A dream still singing. A dream that began in silence and will end there not with sorrow, but with peace. We are that dream, and the dreamer, and the light within it. And so, as the stars drift and fade, as galaxies turn, in the slow waltz of gravity, as time itself sighs into its own reflection, we remain still listening, still breathing, still glowing. The silence holds us, and we hold it too. The dream widens, and we follow. The dream widens, and we follow, floating now at the edge of everything known, where light grows thin, and time feels like a slow exhale. Here the galaxies shimmer faintly, as if they too are beginning to tire. Their once bright arms stretch further apart, their stars aging gently into embers. The night between them deepens, not menacing, but calm, a velvet sea of patience. In this late hour of the universe, creation does not end. It slows, it softens. Everywhere matter continues to change hand stars, giving their remnants to the next gravity gathering the leftovers into quiet constellations of dust and memory. Even black holes, those deep, invisible wells of gravity, are not eternal. They too will fade. Through Hawking radiation, they will release the last warmth of their mass back into the universe, photon by photon, until nothing remains but silence. It will take longer than words can describe, trillions upon trillions of years, but time is patient. Time has nowhere else to be. And when even those final embers have dissolved into energy, the cosmos will rest in near-perfect stillness. Not dead, but complete. Not gone, but fulfilled. The long journey from light to darkness, from expansion to quiet, will have come full circle. Yet this stillness will not be empty. Space will still hum with possibility. Quantum ripples will flicker like dreamlight small tremors of existence that refuse to fade entirely. The vacuum itself will be alive, a canvas of almost nothing, upon which new beginnings might one day be painted. Some say the universe will end in heat, death, others in a great collapse, a big crunch, or perhaps a big bounce, a returning breath that begins anew. No one truly knows. And maybe that is the beauty of it, that the end too is part of the mystery. An unanswered question folded gently inside the silence. The laws of physics may be precise, but the heart of existence remains poetic. It resists finality. It resists being known completely. The more we learn, the more the horizon recedes, inviting us to keep wondering. Even now, in this imagined far future, the spirit of curiosity remains. Not in human form, perhaps, not in any form at all, but in the quiet persistence of energy, of structure, of the desire to continue. The universe does not cling, it transforms. And transformation, even in stillness, is a kind of grace. Perhaps somewhere beyond our reach, new universes have already begun bubbles of reality, forming in the infinite dark, each expanding with its own physics, its own light, its own dreaming. Maybe our cosmos was never alone, just one ripple among many in an ocean of becoming. And maybe when this one grows quiet enough, another will rise its own big bang, blooming softly like a heartbeat restarting after a long sleep. If that is true, then nothing ever ends. Every silence is the start of a new song. Every darkness a preparation for dawn. And here, in our small moment within the grand pattern, we too mirror that truth. Our lives begin, expand, fade, and continue not lost, but translated. The atoms that were once part of you will one day drift into oceans, clouds, perhaps even the cores of stars. The thoughts you leave behind will ripple through others as gravity ripples through space. Everything moves forward in some form. We are made of continuities. Our briefness is not a flaw. It is participation, a single breath in an eternal inhale. And so, the universe keeps breathing slowly. Now, rhythmically, its expansion still guided by the same gentle pulse that began it all. That pulse is in you. It always has been. You are the Big Bang made quiet. You are the fire made gentle. You are the echo made human. And even when the last star burns out, when time itself grows thin, something in that stillness will remember this moment, the hush of breath, the weight of thought, the warmth of being. Because memory, like light, travels endlessly. It may fade, but it never vanishes. Somewhere in some distant form of existence, it will begin again, a spark, a shimmer, a new kind of dawn. And perhaps, as that light rises, it will whisper the same quiet truth we've carried all along. That knowledge can be gentle. That science can be song. That even the vastness of creation was never meant to overwhelm, but to soothe, to remind us that we are not lost but home. The stars are no longer burning, but their warmth remains woven into everything, and so does yours. The silence settles not as an ending, but as peace. The universe exhales, and the dream becomes still. The silence holds. The silence listens. And in that silence, everything continues. The dream doesn't end, it only sleeps.